Good morning. This lesson is for my integrated 1 classes, but before I get started, I want to say I hope that everyone's doing all right out there. I'm not sure how I'm going to title this lesson, but I'm going to title it how I title it in the title. But what I am sure of are 2 goals for the day. Our first goal is going to be to define slope. Our second goal is going to be to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form, knowing the slope and a point on the line. Remember when I say write in slope-intercept form, that's a way for me to say simplify. Now, I want to just quickly give an overview on this series of lessons and where we're at. Right now, we're writing equations of lines. There's classically 3 questions about writing equations of lines. Writing equations of lines knowing 2 points, which was the previous lesson. Writing the equation of the line knowing a point and the slope of the line, that's this lesson. And writing the equation of the line knowing the slope and the Y-intercept. Now, these 3 questions are often taught using different methods to answer each question. In my series of lessons, I'm going to teach one method to answer all the questions. Now, the advantage of that is it makes all the questions essentially the same. Now, I'm hoping that some of you begin to maybe recognize shortcuts for certain questions that are asked, and you're more than welcome to use them. But I don't want to just give the shortcut. I'd rather teach all the questions as one method and then have you guys figure out where you can have a shortcut, because then it's a little bit more meaningful. All right, so anyways, let me go ahead and continue here. So I'd like to do a little bit of a review. We need 4 numbers to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. And again, that's how I say simplify. I need to have these numbers in our table. The change in x, the first x value, first y value, and the change in y. We plug these values into our formula, and we simplify using our 6 steps to solve. Here's our formula that we're going to use. First y value, change in y, change in x. I don't know, my arms are that long, and the first x value. So those are the 4 numbers we need to write the equation of the line. Now, to simplify the equation of the line and put it in slope-intercept form, first thing we try to do is eliminate fractions by multiplying everyone by the denominator. Second thing we try to do is distribute. That means we have parentheses. Thirdly, combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. We don't do step 4 and 5. And the last thing we're going to do is divide away a number from the variable side of the equal sign. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our first goal, and that's to define slope. And slope is the change in y over the change in x. It's this number. We've already been dealing with slope. Now, I'm just telling you what these numbers are by saying the word slope. Slope can be represented by the letter m. I don't know why, but we can use the letter m. So here I'm saying slope is equal to 5. Now, 5 is not a fraction, but can be made a fraction by putting a 1 under the 5. So now we have a fraction, and we know that 5 is our change in y, and 1 is our change in x. Right? Remember, we need these numbers in our table so we can plug them into our formula. Here's a second example. The slope is equal to the negative of 2 over 3. Now, I recommend putting the negative with the 2. See how it's out in front here? Now it's up top. Put the negative with the number up top. So the slope is equal to negative 2 divided by 3, or the change, negative 2 is our change in y, and 3 is our change in x. So again, I'm telling you what the change in y and the change of x are, but I'm talking to you in code. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and check off the first goal, because I believe that we understand, or I've presented what the definition of slope is. Our second goal is going to be to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, which means simplify. And we're going to know the slope and the point of the line. So here's an example of a question. Now, this first question, the slope is not a fraction. We will see how to deal with a fraction in the next section of this lesson. All right. So I'd like to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form with the slope of 5 and passing through negative 4 and 6. Now remember, if I tell you that the slope is 5, that actually is a fraction of 5 over 1. That's my change in y, and that's my change in x. We can fill in our table and make this problem more familiar. So I know that my first x value is negative 4. I know that my first y value is 6. I know my change in y is 5, and I know that my change in x is 1. Now that I have the 4 numbers that I need, I can plug that into our formula. F of x is equal to my first y value plus my change in y divided by my change in x, parentheses, x plus the opposite of the first x value, so this is going to be x plus 4. Now, we want to determine, before I move on, we want to figure out how we can reduce this. And this is a nice fraction because it reduces. So we can turn 5 over 1 into just 5. And everything else stays the same. So we get f of x equals 6 plus 5, parentheses, x minus 1, x plus 4. How to do that? Now we can get into our 6 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we don't do 5 and we don't do 4. Do I have a fraction to eliminate? No, I do not. Can I distribute? Yes, we can. So we get 5 times x and 5 times 4. So we get 5x plus 20. And we have f of x equals to 6 plus that. Now, can I combine like terms? Yes, I can. I can combine the 6 and the 20. And we will now have f of x equals to 5x plus 26. This is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, which we get when we simplify using the steps. I can't do step 6 because there's nothing to divide away. So that is an example of doing this. Let me go ahead and clean this up, come back with one more example of writing the equation of the line, knowing the slope, and a point on the line where the slope is actually a non-reducible fraction. So let me clean all this up and I'll be back. I'm back. So let's go ahead and continue with our second goal. And this goal, remember, the slope is a non-reducible fraction. So let's go ahead and do this second example, which is asking us to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form with a slope of 3 over 5, which is a change in y of 3 and a change in x of 5. And we would like that to pass through 4, 1. All right, so let's make this into a table so we make it more familiar. Make it just like the other problems. I have my ordered pair, so that goes my x and my y value. I know my change in y is 3. And I know that my change in x is 5. So now that I have these numbers, I am able now to plug this into my formula, which becomes f of x equals to my first y value, which is 1, plus my change in y divided by my change in x. I had to think there for a second, nothing was happening, times parentheses of x plus the opposite of the first x value, so it's x minus 4. All right, so this is non-reducible, so we need to immediately jump into our 6 steps here. Do I have a fraction to eliminate? Yes, I do. Now, again, this bothers some of you that this is considered one number, but this is one number, so it only gets one denominator. And remember, we multiply everybody by the denominator. Okay, so you should be multiplying 3 times for step 1 when you have to do step 1. And that cancels out. So now we're left with 5 f of x's is equal to 5 times 1, which is 5, plus 3 parentheses x minus 4. Can I distribute? Yes, I can, because I have parentheses. So we're going to distribute the 3 to the x and the 3 to the negative 4, and we get 3x, and a positive 3 times a negative 4 is a negative 12. So now I have 5 f of x's equal to 5 plus 3x minus 12. Can I combine like terms? Yes, I can. We can combine the 5 and the minus 12. I have 5, I owe 12. That means that I owe 7. All right, so we still have 5 f of x's equal to 3x minus 7. And we have one more step to do, and this time I have to divide because I have a 5 with the f of x. Now remember, we divide everybody in this instance. So we're going to divide everybody by 5. You get divided by 5, you get divided by 5, and you get divided by 5. Those cancel out, and we have f of x is equal to 3x over 5 minus 7 over 5. It doesn't matter that this is a fraction. That's okay. Now again, let me remind you that we get rid of a fraction, simplify everything, and bring back the fraction. Alright, and so it's okay if we get fractions on our final answer. That's fine. And remember, when we simplify using the 6 steps, we put our equation in slope-intercept form. So I want to go ahead and end this here. Remember, we can write the equation of the line knowing 2 points, and now knowing the point and the slope of the line. And we have one more lesson, and that's writing the equation of the line knowing the slope and the y-intercept. So it's very similar to this. Again, I'm telling you information without saying it specifically. So now I don't say change in y and change in x, I say slope. But that's it. We talk in code. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and end this here so I can stop rambling and can edit and put this thing up. Again, I hope everyone is doing all right out there. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.